All right, so here we are at section 5.7, percent of change, and what we're going to be calculating in this section is the percent that something goes, when it goes from one value to another, what is the percent that it changed as we go from those two different things. So let's take a look at this first example. They're talking about the price of gas from 1930 to 1960. Real expensive stuff back then. 1930, 10 cents. 1960, 25 cents. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? But let's take a look at what their sample problems are. And they're saying how much did the price increase from 1930 to 1940. So from here to here, the price increase was obviously 5 cents. And if we want to figure out the percent, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the amount of increase, which we just determined was 5 cents, and we're going to put it over the original price, which in 1930 was 10 cents. So we're going to say 5 over 10, or of course that's 1/2, and if we want to figure that out as a percent, that is 50%. So what they're saying is from 1930 to 1940, that was a 50% increase, and that's a pretty good increase. If you lived in that time, you would have thought, oh man, the price of gas went up quite a bit. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. And number 3 says, how much did it increase from 1940 to 1950? So from here to here, the same increase, 5 cents. So it was the same price, same increase, so you might think it'd be the same, but let's take a look at the percent, and once again, we're going to compare the increase, the 5 cents, to the original price, in this case 15 cents. So for this one, we're going to get 5 divided by 15, or 1/3, or 33 1/3%. And so you can see that even though the price went up the same, it wasn't the same percentage increase. And if we do the last one, from 20 to 25, still our 5 cent increase. Everything's 5 cents. But now put it over the original price. So let's go to the left over here. 5 over 20, and we get 1/4, or 25%. So even though all 3 increases were the same price, same cents, the percent increases were all different. And so that's what we're kind of taking a look at here in this section here. All right, let's get this arranged. All right, so here's our key concepts. We're talking about percent of change. We're talking about the ratio from the change compared to the original. So here's my formula: percent of change, the amount of change over the original. So whatever that is, and then of course change it into a percent. And that's what we're going to be doing in this section here. All right, so the question in this first one says, when the new amount's greater than the original, the percent of change is a percent increase. So if it goes up, if the original price is bigger, we have a percent increase. So you could also have, later on we'll talk about a percent decrease where it actually goes down. But let's take a look at this first example. It says the science club had 25 members. Now it has 30. So it went from 25 to 30. That's an increase. So what's my difference? Well, my difference, of course, is 5. And I'm going to take my original, or my difference rather, put it over the original, which was 25. So 5 over 25 is 1/5. 1/5, we know, is 20%. And of course, they did it as a decimal, so you could do that too. I did it as a fraction, whichever way you think you'd like to do. All right, now you guys do these problems right here and write those down, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so if we work through these sample problems here, let's take a look. We've got the original price was 20, our original number was 20. I guess it doesn't say price. The new is 23. So we went from 20 to 23. That's a difference of 3. Put that over the original, 3 over 20. If you multiply that out, and let's do this one as a proportion because I think that works out really well for this one. We can figure out what our percent is, and so we get 3 times 100 equals 20 times P divided by 20, and these cancel, and we get 15. So percent equals 15%. So this is a 15% increase for that one. All right, for B, this was A. B, we've got, we go from 50 to 67. So that's an increase of 17. Put that over the original, 67 minus 50 is 17, of course. Put that over my original. This was my original, 50. So 17 over 50. And once again, you kind of think of this as, okay, if that's 17 is over 50, this has got to be 34. So it's 34% for my increase on that one. And on C, we've got the original is 12, goes up to 20. That's a difference of 8. Put it over the original of 12. Now there's a good fraction. You should be able to look at that and say, oh, that's 2/3. And you should know that that is 66 and 2/3%. Or most of the time in this one, they're going to round off to the nearest tenth. And so that's 67 or 66.7% on that one. All right, so let's go back and move on and go with percent decrease on these. So now we're going to find the percent decrease. They're going to get smaller. So it goes from, in this example, we've got 20 comic books. And it goes down and she ends up with 13. She gives some of them away. So this is a percent of decrease. But the problem is the same. The difference is that we're going to just find still the difference, and usually that's always going to be the positive. It's an absolute value, basically, of what we're trying to find for our change. So we've got a change of 7. 20 minus 13 gives me 7. 7 over the original of 20 comes out to be 0.35. Can't quite read that there. 0.35 or 35%. So this is a percent decrease. So this got smaller. It's important that we understand that. All right, your turn. Do these problems right here. We'll go over them in a sec. Okay, so if we take a look at those percent decreases, we've got, goes from 10 to 6. That's a decrease of 4. Put that over my original of 10, and I get a 40% decrease. Now I'm hoping that you can figure out how we got that. Of course, 0.4 over 10 is either 0.4, and then I moved my decimal 2 places and got 40%. Or you can set it up as a ratio and figure it out that way. And this is a decrease, and so you probably want to write that down. Because they're asking you on these whether they're increases or decreases. So on the second one, this one was D. On E, it goes from 5 to 6. I probably shouldn't have put that fraction line in there. It goes from 5 to 6. And so the difference is 1. The original is 5. But it got bigger. So I know right now, okay, this is going to be an increase. I can write that down ahead if I want. 1/5 I know to be 0.2. 0.2 as a percent is 20%. So this is a 20% increase in this particular example. All right, so let's do the last one. F starts at 80 and drops down to 55. So it got smaller. So you can say right away, hey, that's a decrease. I know that. It's going to be a decrease. My difference between those two, 80 minus 55, is going to give me 25. So 25 over 80. And if I calculate that out, and at this point on this one, you can maybe use a calculator. The other ones you could have done in your head pretty easily. But this one, maybe you want to calculate it out, and you would end up with 31. Well, you'd actually end up with 0.313 plus some more things. We would probably leave it there at 31.3%. So if you took 25 divided by 80, you're going to get this decimal number. Remember, that is not the answer. You want it as a percent, so you must always take it times 100 to get your percent. Okay, let's go back. Take a look at the next part. And let's go up just a little bit here. Okay, so a store sells an item for more than it paid. Obviously, the store needs to make a profit. And so this is known as markup. So when a store marks up their price, that's their markup, and the customer pays the selling price. And so the idea here is, let's figure this out. All right, so Shani is selling some embroidered jackets on a website as shown in the photo. She wants to price the jackets 25% over her cost, which is $35. So find the selling price for the jacket. And let's take a look. There's two ways that they go through this. So let's figure this out. It says, well, find 25% of 35. Now this looks like our percent equation that we did before. So pretty simple problem. We're just going to take and change our 25% to a decimal. We get 0.25 times our $35. That's going to be our, they call it M for markup. And so it becomes $8.75. That's how much she needs to mark it up. And the original was $35. So the total price is going to be $43.75. That allows her a 25% markup. Now the other way, so here what we did was we figured out 25%, added it to the original price. In this one, they're saying, well, you could do that, the percents first. You could say you've got to pay the 100%, the original, plus 25% more, so we're going a total of 125%. So when you're marking it up 25, you know, you've got the original plus the new markup. So their equation here is, well, use the equation as 125% as a decimal. That would be 1.25. Remember, you're going to convert these by dividing or moving your decimal over two places. 1.25 times the 35 gives me 43.75. So regardless of which way you do it, it is $43.75. You guys don't have to do it both ways. Just pick which way you like and do it that way. All right, on the next one, it says the amount by which a regular price is reduced is called the discount. The percent of discount is a percent of decrease. So let's take a look at this example. You know, now this would be like if you go to the store and they're saying, hey, you got 25% off sale or something like that. So here it is. The Sports Chalet is having a sale. Find the sale price of the snow skate at the right. All right, so they want to find the amount of discount, find 35% of $95. I'm not really sure where they told us before what this was, but let's say that we're talking about a 35% discount in this particular example of what it should be. So 35%, the original price was $95. So we do our calculation, we do our math again. And once again, remember, we're changing to decimal, so 0.35, taking it times my original price of 95 cents, and I get $33.25. That's my discount. The original was 95. I now need to subtract that price. So in this one, once again, they work with the 35% discount and then subtract from the original. Now, here's where, on this problem over here to the right, they are taking care of all that information in the percentage part of it. So they're saying, well, the original price would be 100%. So, you know, that $95 would be at 100%, and we're taking off 35. So what we're actually going to pay is 65%. So now all we need to know is what is 65% of $95. So convert to a decimal, 0.65 times 95, $61.75. You should always get the same answer. I mean, either way works the same. You get the same answer. It's up to you which way you would prefer to do it. Pick one way and be good at it is probably the best suggestion that I have at this point. So that's probably makes the most sense of what we're doing. All right, so that is section 7, and you're now ready to begin the problems on section 7.